Well, I think a lot of people actually get what a slam and a breakdown are. I would actually say that the deathcore bands aren't really doing breakdowns. They're actually doing slams. Because a breakdown is when you take a riff and you break it down into its core elements. Like you take the guitars out, you take the bass out, maybe the drums kind of like stick for a minute with it, and then the bass comes in and then it comes in. It's a breakdown. You break the riff down into its core elements to create something new, as opposed to Jun patterns. Jun pattern to me is not a breakdown. That is a slam to me. So, that's just a difference of opinion. I think it's all cool. I love it. It's exactly what we try to do. We go, hey, we need a slam part here. We need a stomp riff. We might actually call it a stomp riff sometimes, just ourselves. Just make the crowd stomp their friends into the dirt, So, slam is great. Love it, That's, I guess some people say we're a slam band, and it's kind of along with bands like, Internal Bleeding and like Dehumanized. We kind of along that era when slam started coming out. So yeah, if you want to call us slam, you could say we got slam parts. You damn right we do. Well, if you listen to a lot of older Dying Fetus, mainly stuff off of like Killing on Adrenaline, the way John and Kevin worked like rhythmic things out, there are a lot of times where it's the same riff, but it might be a little slower with maybe a double bass beat instead of a blast, and it's kind of a cheat. So you don't actually have to write a new part. You can just change the feel of a part you've already written. So one thing we kind of played around with a lot on this album is we would be like, okay, that's a cool riff. It has a cool melodic movement to it. Hardcore that out. Now let's grind that out. Let's Fetus typical stuff grind out those things. And then we just see what worked out and just went with it. Being three people, well, I did four. Being three people, you have to have good sound, and fortunately Sean, he's the root, the bass, keeps the tone there, and Sean has always had a real affinity for the piano string jang 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 sound, that Anthrax Nuclear Assault tone where you really get the attack. And John has always been about overly gained guitars that just chun 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 chun, so, and then I just try to tune my drums well and hopefully it sounds good. So, but with three people you got to make sure you have really good sound just on the stage, then the sound guys can amplify it. So that's what we do. We just try to have good gear, stuff that makes and appeals to our ear.